everyone, welcome back to Afropop E. I hope you're all doing well, and today we are going to look into this saga surrounding Vanessa Chidimma. So of late there has been so much backlash and so much scrutiny on this 23-year-old who decided to join the Miss South Africa competitions. So Vanessa Chidimma is a 23-year-old South African born woman who was trying to vie for Miss South Africa, but she ended up receiving so much backlash, and her family has been receiving so much hate and so much scrutiny, and honestly it's crazy. It's so crazy. The thing is, Miss South Africa is supposed to come from South Africa, and that is true. It's valid. Any country, whether it's Miss Egypt, whether it's Miss Nigeria, whether it's Miss Ghana, you want that person to come from your country. It only makes sense. And the thing is, Vanessa was actually born in South Africa. She was born in Soweto, South Africa, which makes her a South African citizen because, like most countries, South Africa gives you automatic citizenship when you're born in that country. However, her parents are not South African. Her father is Nigerian and her mother is Mozambican. Now, between 2000 and 2009, the Miss South Africa winner in South Africa was white, and between 2010 and 2018, Miss South Africa was also white. So from this you can tell that South Africa is a very diverse country with people from different backgrounds, and Miss South Africa has actually been dominated by people who don't look like the typical African, the dark skin or brown African. So it was not surprising to find that someone who's also diverse, who while being a South African citizen has parents who are not purely South African like Zulu, wanted to vie for this seat. It's a seat that people have vied for. However, South Africans were so appalled. In fact, they signed a petition for her to be chased out of the competition, but the organization, I think it's called change.org, it actually decided to disqualify this petition after 14,000 people had signed it. So change.org, it's a very established organization and they deal with serious petitions. Not to say that this was not a serious petition, but it's more of backed up by hate. Because what's your reason for this? Why are you saying this woman should not vie for Miss South Africa? And you'll say she's not South African, but she has papers proving that she's South African. So change.org could not risk their reputation just because you think her being born in South Africa is not a good enough reason for her to vie for Miss South Africa. And it's quite surprising that up to 14,000 people had signed the petition over a short period, but you can also understand that people want Miss South Africa to come from South Africa. So as of now, Chidimma has withdrawn from Miss South Africa following the controversy surrounding her mother's citizenship. She actually released a report where she said that her reason for withdrawing was because she wanted to make sure her family was safe, which makes sense because if your family was being threatened because you wanted to pursue a dream, you would think it was not worth it, because what's worth putting your entire family at risk? So as of now, she's no longer taking part in the competition, and this was after this press release was made to accuse her mother of fraud. I'm just going to attach a video by some of the South African authorities revealing that Chidimma's mother might have committed identity fraud.
An ongoing investigation by Home Affairs has found prima facie indications of fraud committed by Chidimma Adetshina's mother. The Department of Home Affairs herewith provides an update on the ongoing investigation into the citizenship of Miss Chidimma Adetshina, a contestant in the upcoming Miss SA event. The reason for the ongoing nature of the investigation is that its scope has broadened since the original request received from the organizers of Miss SA based on the information uncovered by Home Affairs investigators thus far. The department nonetheless provides this update to the public based on that official request and consent. We will provide a final update once the investigation is concluded. Upon receiving the request for investigation, the department deployed every resource at its disposal to establish the truth. This has included archival research, visits to hospitals, and site visits to verify information. From the information we have uncovered thus far, the Department of Home Affairs can indicate that prima facie reasons exist to believe that fraud and identity theft may have been committed by the person recorded in Home Affairs records as Chidimma Adetshina's mother. Adetshina herself could not have participated in the alleged unlawful actions of her mother, as she was an infant at the time when the activities took place in 2001. An innocent South African mother, whose identity may have been stolen as part of the alleged fraud, suffered as a result because she could not register her child. The department has broadened its investigation to identify and pursue any officials involved in the alleged scheme and is obtaining legal advice on the implications of the alleged fraudulent activity on Adetshina's citizenship status. And finally, upon the completion of the investigation, Home Affairs intends to press criminal charges and convict all implicated parties. This case, which stems from alleged fraudulent activities committed 23 years ago, highlights the urgent need for the digital modernization of Home Affairs applications, adjudication, and verification processes to insulate the department against fraudulent interference, similar to the reforms undertaken at the South African Revenue Service in the late 2000s. The case also highlights the reason for the department's blocking of certain duplicate IDs, and that the court-ordered unblocking of these documents must be handled with caution. Throughout this process, Home Affairs is guided by our commitment to both restoring and upholding the rule of law as well as the rights of all parties.
Chidimma's family has really been dragged into this mess. In fact, someone from Twitter was saying this is Chidimma's husband, a Nigerian who's a drug lord and pimping girls. This is the guy who she helped get a fraudulent ID into South Africa, and Minister of Home Affairs is protecting such a woman as Miss South Africa. These people are Nigerians and not South African. How can she be violated? So people were really angry about this from both sides. Nigerians were really angry and South Africans were also really angry. And I can see from both sides. I understand why South Africans would want Miss South Africa to be from South Africa. It only makes sense. What doesn't make sense is ignoring the fact that this girl is actually from South Africa. She's born in South Africa. So you can't want to make sense while ignoring some parts of the sense. It's like you want to be selectively sensible. And South Africans have been so harsh to anyone who's trying to support this girl. In fact, one of her fellow contestants is also being criticized, and even South Africans have started signing petitions against her just because she was supporting Chidimma. So this is crazy, and I think South Africans are being unreasonable and petty and hateful towards Nigerians, and South Africans are hiding behind the excuse that Nigerians are criminals, Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that. In fact, they were even saying that nobody likes Nigerians. Nigerians do this everywhere they go. And let's assume it's true. Let's say Nigerians are such terrible people and no one likes them. Why is South Africa the only country that constantly has this kind of debates with Nigerians? If Nigerians are the constant, if they go to the UK and they are such criminals, they go to Kenya, they're such drug lords, they go to Ghana, they go to the US, why aren't other countries behaving like this? What makes South Africa so unique that they're the ones who get to spew so much hate online towards this woman to the point that she has to drop out of the competition? And you know what's crazy is Chidimma did not even win. She was just among the finalists. So if South Africans wanted someone else to win, they could have just put pressure onto that other person winning. I feel like South Africans, I would think South Africans have a valid point if Chidimma was not a South African citizen. So by ignoring the fact that your own laws says that if someone is born in South Africa, they're South African, by ignoring that, you're already just disrespecting your own rules. It's like you don't respect your own rule of law. Isn't it your own rule of law that says this girl, if she was born in South Africa, she's South African? So Kainene came out to say, you know how Nigerians and Ghanaians can banter and you know it's just bants? I never get that feeling with South Africans. Theirs always feels like real hatred, nothing else. And honestly, I picked up on this a long time ago during the AFCON competitions when South Africa and Nigeria were competing in the semi-finals, and there was this banter that Nigerians were trying to start. They were trying to say that if they beat South Africans, they'll take a piano. And I find Nigerians to be very childish, not in a bad way, but Nigerians like poking you, and they don't poke you with malice. It's just, they're just like that. They just like poking. And they've been doing that to Ghana for a long time. And if you don't know them, you might think they're being malicious, but they're not being malicious. So I think South Africans need to understand that there's no need for all this anger and malice and bullying, because this was just, it was crazy. I couldn't even believe that in the end she has had to just drop out of the entire competition, all because some South Africans who could never even run for the competition just don't want her to run for the competition under the pretense that she's not South African when she's actually South African, and using the excuse that, oh, Nigerians are drug lords, Nigerians do this, Nigerians do that. So far Tyla has come out to say that she does not support what happened, and as much as she will always stand with South Africans, she thinks this girl was bullied. And who better than Tyla to call this out, because Tyla is experiencing this in America. So I'm imagining that Tyla was just imagining how lucky she is that the bullying she got from Black Americans in America did not cause her to have to quit music. So I guess she can really empathize, like, wow, my own people made someone else have to quit on their dream just because they just can't accept that someone is different from them. Let me know what you guys think about this. I feel like South Africans need a lot of work, and they need to stop being in denial, because this is just pure hate and bigotry. But of course, you'll hide it behind very many things, including protecting our country. Oh, we are protecting our country. You're not the only ones with a country to protect. So people can relate to protecting a country, and to me, that is not what it looks like. This is not what protecting your country looks like. Protecting your country looks like voting. Protecting your country looks like legislating laws. Like, be strategic with it. Put up laws that make it harder for immigrants to come into your country. If you have to resort to bigotry and online hate, then what are you even doing, really? I feel like there's a more strategic way for South Africans to address their concerns. If your genuine concern is the influx of immigrants into the country, first of all, it should be all immigrants, not just dark-toned immigrants, not just Nigerian immigrants, Mozambican immigrants, Tswana immigrants. Let it be all immigrants, including the white ones. And then approaching it through bigoted tweets and change.org petitions, it's not strategic enough. It's not effective. It's reactive. It's like you're just waiting for something to piss you off, and then you react, and then you lay low again, and then something else pisses you off, and then you react. It's not like you're coming up with a plan to solve this issue. You can come up with laws. You can tell your legislators to put up laws that make it harder for immigrants to come into your country. So you can have you require them to have COVID vaccines, you require them to take certain tests, you require them to take even a language test, indirect methods that are even more effective. And another thing is the fact that Miss South Africa from 2000 to 2009 and 2010 to 2018 was white. To me, it's kind of interesting, because I'm very familiar with the apartheid regime and the entire mess that was in South Africa because of colonialism, and it was honestly horrendous. It was terrible, so terrible. In fact, I know the details, the intricate details that are not even written in historical papers. So to me, the fact that South Africans are so patient and welcoming of their oppressors, and yet they lose their cool over Nigerians, it's so sad, man. It's so sad. And I don't understand why. Okay, you could use all excuses in the world and say that Nigerians are killing us, Nigerians are selling drugs, but if you could weigh the impact of Nigerians, let's say everything you're saying about Nigerians is true, and we could weigh all crimes Nigerians have committed in South Africa and compared to all crimes that the Boers have committed in South Africa, there is literally no comparison. So the fact that the people who have actually harmed you even more, you are so welcoming of them. In fact, you'll use excuses. You'll say, but them, they're legal South African citizens, when trying to disqualify Chidimma, who's actually a legal South African citizen. It's just sad. I think I was listening to a Rema interview recently, and in the interview he was asked, what's your strategy? And he said, my strategy is honesty. I'm honest with myself. So Rema said, you should always just tell yourself the truth. So South Africans need to tell themselves the truth. What is the issue? What is your problem with South Africa? Nigerians? What's the issue? Be honest with yourself. I don't think the issue is immigration. I think the issue is something else. I actually have a clue, a theory on what the issue is, but that is for another video. I think that South Africans need to be honest with themselves, and also they need to just turn down the bigotry. It's not good for you. It's not good for you, because right now you're just being reactive, and you think, I feel like South Africans have this air of superiority, like, yo, we can say whatever we want. You're the ones who want to come to us. We don't want to come to you. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Yeah. Oh, you're saying now you want to come to South Africa? Great. That is exactly what we want. But, yo, life is so unpredictable. You never know when you need Nigerians or when you need other African countries to stand up for you. So I think you need to take that into consideration, because I even read a tweet where a Nigerian was saying that during the apartheid rule, Nigerians played a very big role in helping South Africa, and it's easy to forget such things, and it's easy to think, God forbid, that you'll never go back there. You know, the more you kick out black people, the more you just allow yourselves to be vulnerable to the same people who oppressed you. You never know. In fact, right now we are in a very unstable political climate. It's so easy for things you think have gone to come back. It's so easy for things you think could never happen again to happen again. And under such circumstances, you want to have people who look like you guarding your back. If something were to happen today and apartheid were to start again today, how many African countries do you think would have your back, South Africans? And you think the Boers and the white people who you keep defending so much, you think they would have your back? No. Anyway, Chidimma has since been invited to participate in Miss Universe Nigeria by the organizer, and I'm not sure if she has accepted the invitation, but at least this story has somewhat of a happy ending. And I have to say that I draw so much similarity between South Africa and Black Americans. They both have this possessiveness over their space. They're like, you want what's mine, and I think that comes from a scarcity mindset, which you can't blame them from. I mean, when you experience so much oppression by someone who wants what you have, they give you this trauma of feeling like there's so little, you know, because you witness someone being so inhumane over materialistic things. So in your head, you're like, yo, for someone to be this inhumane over materialistic things, they must be so precious and so limited. I must guard them with all of me. So that's why I get that Black Americans and South Africans share this attitude of, you want my culture, you want my music, you want what's mine, and that's a trauma response. So I'm lenient towards the both groups for having that trauma response, but you only have so much time to react like that before you are asked to seek therapy or to look inwards and to realize you're being bigoted.